Hey everybody, and welcome to another show. We have a good one for you tonight. We actually have Jax with us from Forsaken Souls Paranormal. How's everybody?
Good.
Great.
We're doing good.
She's been turning her face inside out just before this show started, and we've all been like, oh.
I can actually feel my eyelids, you know.
No, don't do that. No, don't do that. So you'll all remember Jax. She's been on the show before, but she has a very special thing to talk about tonight. So we're going to talk about your new show, and we're also going to talk about a live event that you have coming up this very weekend. So do you want to start off with giving us a little bit of background on everybody involved with the show, and then the premise for the show, and then we can go from there.
Good stuff. All right. So, long story, very, very short. I decided to take my two favorite things in the world, which was, investigation from like a criminal standpoint, and the paranormal, and combine them into one magnificent idea, where I started investigating cold case murders, and then doing it from a criminal investigative standpoint, but also from a paranormal standpoint, to see if I could make contact with the victim that was murdered in the cold case, right? To see if we could solve the crime. I started doing this quite a few years before the show idea physically came together. And before it was just myself and John. And then we brought in our psychic medium, Irene, who is now part of the team in the show. So the show follows us. It's considered a paracrime docuseries, paranormal criminal docuseries. And it follows our team as we travel around the United States, helping families of cold case victims solve their crimes. So we go in and we revisit the crime from a criminal investigative standpoint. We track down witnesses, we track down any type of, we'll say, journalist, any type of expert that was working on the case at the time of the murder. So it could be journalists, it could be a coroner. We revisit the police department and speak with the detectives on the case, revisit their evidence that they had, and kind of then go forward with creating our own criminal investigation to see if we can uncover new leads. Once we've completed that whole process, John and I then go in and do a full paranormal sweep in the location of both where the crime took place, as well as any other significant areas that might have been significant to the victims. So their home, their grave site, if they have one. And after we do our full paranormal sweep to see what kind of evidence we get, we then bring our psychic medium in on the third day and do a full psychic medium investigation. The great thing about it is we tell her nothing. She's so badly in the dark, we even blindfold her and put earplugs on her en route to location, so she has no knowledge whatsoever. She gets told literally, I'm picking you up on this day, be ready. And that's the extent of what she knows. It's incredible what happens before our cases. I'd say anywhere between 3 days to a week before we leave to location, spirits will start showing themselves to her. And to date, we've had 3 incidences where the spirit of our murder victim showed up to her before even coming to location.
That opens a lot of questions up, that.
Yeah, it is incredible. The parallels between our criminal investigation, John and I's paranormal investigation, and then bringing Irene in and doing a secondary investigation are insane. And just recently we came back from South Carolina, where we not only potentially have solved the crime, but uncovered a secondary murder that we may have solved as well.
Wow.
It's a huge shocking twist at the end of that episode, so you have to check it out.
Can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
So
That sounds awesome.
when you look at your normal sort of ghost hunting show, they'll sort of say, okay, we're going to put aside 2 or 3 days, we're going to go through this location, and they squeeze it down into an hour of the best bits of whatever they come up with. Something like this, you've got to put a lot more homework into it. So how long from initial taking on a case, I suppose is the best way of saying it, to going to record and then put the whole thing together. How long does a single case or a single episode take from start to finish on average?
Anywhere between 1 to 3 months.
Yeah.
Just filming alone for evidence, just going out and doing the paranormal piece is 3 to 4 days. And that's just for the fun part, the paranormal investigation.
Yeah.
The criminal investigation can take, I've had currently actually the episode 2, it's just called Justice for Jack. We're still working on the case. And even though we have very credible evidence as to the crime and what we believe happened, and also the incredible stuff that Irene brought forth to light, we're still making one more trip down there to close out the criminal investigation. So the criminal side of it is extremely extensive. Tracking down witnesses to cold case murders, and hoping that they're not passed. We come across it a lot. I've had 3 cases where everyone in my case file is gone and there's no one to talk to. So hard. It's difficult because we get families that reach out to us and ask for help. And, at that point it becomes reviewing the old case evidence and then going in on a paranormal investigation, which is not impossible. And we have first episode, Suitcase Jane Doe, which you've seen probably some trailers on. There's nobody for that case that we had to talk to. So we actually just consulted with expert witnesses. I have a good friend of mine who consults on the show. He's the retired supervisory special agent of the FBI, who's HRT. So we have a lot of great people that consult on the show. So when we run into a case like that, that's the avenue we take. We revisit the case file, revisit, some potential new things that we come up with, and then going from a paranormal aspect. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because we are constantly saying how easy it is to just pick a fun, famous, haunted location. You go in for a day or two, you investigate, you're done. Where with us, you're not going to a location that is haunted. You're not going to a location where you're going to get evidence. You're going to the scene of a crime and you're hoping you can contact that victim. Mm-hmm. You're hoping you can track that spirit down. So it's not always a guarantee, but so far we've been very, very successful in all of our cases.
Yeah. So when you actually talk to the police departments and those who are involved, how accepting are they of what you do?
Oh boy, I've had some doors slammed in my face. I've had some really just unprofessional comments made to me. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you what Rob D'Amico, he's our special agent from the FBI that consults on the show. He said something that really, really kind of hit home for me. And this is a guy who's got an absolute, just incredible career behind him. He also consults for like NBC, MSNBC, CNN. He's a huge law enforcement expert. In an insane amount of time in the FBI on some of the biggest teams there are. So the fact that he consults with us and weighs in on it says a lot, right? And he said to me, because I said to him one day, I come from a law enforcement background myself, but I'm curious to see what you think. What do you think is the best way to approach someone who's, like a chief of police from an old town that doesn't like outsiders and thinks we're crazy, right? He said, you know what, Jackie? They need to look at it like this. You've got a 26-year-old cold case. You have 0 leads. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? If you sit down with me and you think I'm nuts after talking to me, or I don't give you anything important, great. You wasted maybe 20 minutes. But if you sit down with me and I give you something that cracks your case wide open, you're the one that looks like the hero. You're the one that's going on TV to let everybody know you just solved that 26-year-old cold case, not us. So he said, so what do you got to lose? And that stuck with me.
Yeah. So when have you ever actually gone back to some of these guys and given them new evidence that they found actually fits their case file and gives them something or a different direction to go in? Or you know where I'm going with this? Have you given them stuff where they've gone, oh shit?
My first case, the police would not return my call at all. They would not. I told them I had extremely credible evidence, including 96% DNA facial mapping confirmation. So, when they take because it was an unidentified victim. They'd never been able to identify her. And we believe that we have been able to identify her. And the mapping structures that are used in most law enforcement departments, where they kind of map over the face and trace the facial recognition, it's a 96% match.
That's everywhere this day and age. Even going into a shop, you're going through face recognition software.
Yeah. And I told them, I said, we have some credible evidence. Not just that, but we had other stuff. Never returned my call. Never came back. I said, you have the potential to do a DNA analysis and get this solved after 31 years, and you're just going to not call me back? Good on you. In another case, I stumped the police department with evidence they didn't have. And I don't think they took a liking to that very much. We were recording them in an interview, and I said, well, what about this? And I kind of just slid my information across the table and let it out. And they just said, we don't know anything about that. We've never had that information. We don't know anything about that. So you get some departments that aren't happy with you nosing around, but on the same side, we're hired, right, by the families of those victims who've waited 25 years or more, or a little bit less, whatnot, for closure, for peace, to have some kind of answer to their loved one's murder. And if we can provide that to them, or even give enough of a lead that could lead the department to provide that for them, why be bitter?
I've found that letting my parents have access to one of my YouTube accounts was the biggest mistake of my life, because it's absolutely filled with these cold case murders and how investigators did this and how investigators did that. And getting to the stuff that I want, I've got to go for a mile. But what I've found is I'm actually really interested in some of these cold cases and things that have been happening. And I could see, there's so many cases where they don't even find a body or something like that. And a show like yours could just take something like that to the next level. And I'm busting at the bit to watch some of your shows. So as soon as we can get access to them here in Australia, I'm in.
Yeah, no, you will have access right away when it airs. And it's funny because we've had to push the air date back a few times, and people are like, well, what's going on? And that's exactly it. It's the time it takes to do each case. We can't control the outcomes of the leads we get. We can't control where it takes us and something like that. We can guesstimate maybe a month, 2 months, and the next thing you know, it's 4 months later and we're still uncovering stuff. So it's kind of a wild card on each case. You just don't know what's going to happen. But we are looking for sponsors to sponsor the show, to help us reach more families nationwide. We do this, I think it's very important to make this very clear. We do this 100% free of charge, on our own, on our free time. Even though we are making a show about it, it is not some para-celebrity paid show. Everything we do comes out of our own pocket, on our own time. We all work full-time jobs, 40 to 60, sometimes 80 hours a week, and then spend our weekends dedicating our time to these families. Again, 100% free. Nobody contributes anything, and we don't ever ask the families for anything. We would never. But we are looking for sponsors to try and help out a little bit, to try and help us get farther. We have families that will contact us from the West Coast and ask for help, and it's a huge cost to get out there.
Yeah.
So I know there's quite a few sponsors that do sponsor paranormal shows. So we figured, we'll get the word out there and see what we can make happen. So,
because it could open up so many other cases to you other than just your local area. How far afield do you actually go from your area? I don't want to sort of throw you under the bus with where you live or anything like that, but how many hours in each direction would you go for these investigations?
Right now, our farthest location away was 21 hours.
Wow.
One way. 21 hours there and 21 hours back.
That's amazing.
And that's a whole day driving. so to cram that into a work week is not easy.
Not when you have a return trip to do as well, and then the investigation after that. It's a lot.
Right. Which is another reason why, again, it takes long for the cases. They're not just, hey, we're going to Penhurst this weekend to investigate for 3 hours. It's so much more than that that goes into it. And we're all so passionate about it, and we truly care, right? We started this before a show ever became a thing. In fact, prior to the show being a thing, not many people from a social media standpoint knew who I was, because I didn't push that. Right? I didn't really push a social media thing because it was never about that. I do now because it's a way for me to connect with more people to help them. And our reach has gotten 5 times the size because of it. So it's very important work to us. Very important. It's fun, wild, but it means a lot to us.
And it's a first off as well. I've never seen or heard anything like this before.
Original.
Yes,
That's true. We are the first to ever do this across the board, across every show that's ever aired. The closest thing to ever come close, it didn't have anything to do with paranormal, but there was a show at one point that was called Cold Case something or other, that every once in a while would have a guest psychic on to walk them through things. But none of the cases were ever solved, and it only ran for, I don't know, however many seasons. But yeah, there is nothing like this out there. And we always worry. Luckily, we trademarked everything because, we've had quite a few pineapples try to.
we weren't going to mention any fruits or anything tonight.
I was counting how long that was going to take.
I'm trying to behave.
You did all right up until that point, but
So,
Sure.
how do you manage to juggle all of that? Like, you're saying some of you traveling for 21 hours one way. How do you manage to juggle your work life, personal life, and recording on top?
A lot of sleepless nights, and that is the truth. I mean, that is the truth. I've gone days at times. I literally work. I'm very blessed because my normal job is a work from home position. So I literally, a couple of hours, if I'm lucky to get to bed at night, I roll out of bed and I walk into my office. So I'm lucky there. But the minute we get off of work, we literally hit the road. So for example, we all worked today, and then at 5 p.m. we'll be leaving to go to our big event this weekend.
Which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Yeah.
Yes. So even with our big cases, we can't afford to miss time from work. Because again, like I said, everything we do is out of our own pocket, so we can't miss work either. But every once in a while, we will take a vacation day and leave on like a Wednesday or Thursday, and make it kind of a 3 or 4 day weekend type deal. Other than that, we literally get off of work, 4 or 5 o'clock, and hit the road, and we go all the way through the night. We literally spend Friday into Saturday, Saturday into Sunday working on 24 hours, shifts, no sleep, to get what we need to get done. And then crash on Sunday evening. So it's definitely difficult.
Rinse and repeat. Yeah.
I think it's important.
I did have another question, but I've just had an absolute brain fart. So, but yeah. No, I was just going to say, when the show kicks off and gets really good, it's a bit like Crime Scene CSI. Then you'll have to have the Australian thing, and Jeremy and I will have to kick in and do some stuff.
Oh, well, ironically, we actually have already begun discussing and speaking for the Science International Edition.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well, we have a couple of corker cases.
Yeah.
Australia was the location we chose. It was Australia and UK were the 2 locations.
All right, let me throw one past you, right? This is be a good one. About 5-hour drive north of us is a little town called Geraldton, okay? There was a girl that decided, you know the one I'm talking about, Hayley Dodd. She started to hitchhike down to Perth, and she never made it. It's never been found, never been seen. There's been a person, I can't remember if he got charged, but they pretty much tore his house up thinking that her body was going to be there, and they haven't found anything yet. That's a big cold case. We've got the first of the Claremont serial killers.
Yeah.
Sarah Spears. Her body has never been found.
Was there any for the Bernies that weren't found as well?
I'm not sure, but the Bernie's house has been sold a couple of times.
Yeah, can't get access to it.
No, but there's a couple of really good ones. In fact, because I've done a little bit of extras work in movies from time to time, I get called to do little bits and pieces, and I got this call once, and it was like, oh, another production, but it was just they wanted my photo. So I had to do it like a mugshot. So I had to pick a spot, do the kind of thing. I found out they've actually made a movie of the Claremont serial killings, and I'm one of the freaking suspects on the bloody wall in the background. So I don't even know what this film's called. All I got was a working title, and I just had to sign away for it. But yeah, so I'm a suspect.
I wouldn't mind getting Karen in touch with these guys if they ever do want to come out, because Karen herself works on cold cases, and she has for a long time as a medium.
Yeah,
and she put information forward a few times to police, and have helped out.
So if you do get picked up for an international and you come over here, come to Perth, because we've got a couple of cracker cases over here that we could get you kick-started on, and you get to see some good stuff.
We were going to come see you guys. That was the plan.
Because I know there was one with the old soap tunnels that actually went with Karen as well, and picked up on a few things for that one, and we made a bit of headway, but nothing as much has come from it since then.
No.
Nice.
Anyway, I think we need to move on from the TV show, as much as we can talk forever about this, you know.
Look, shall we get Fernando to hit up the first question about this place?
Well, Jax has a very special thing planned for this weekend, which is absolutely through the roof, and I suppose we'll let Fernando get a word in because he hasn't managed to get much in tonight. So go for it, Fernando. Go on. You started off.
I mean, I was very curious, but since we're moving on, I just need to like refocus my questions now.
That's fine. We can give you a couple seconds. We can talk some little chitter chatter.
All right. Well,
no, I mean, I'm just curious to know because you guys have a special device that is just that is trademarked for you guys to use, right? So, what I would like to know is that during your investigations within these cold cases, is I've seen some clips here and there. I would love to know what have you gotten through your device.
We've gotten victim and murderer in our most recent case in South Carolina. In fact, I think I just released a teaser of one of them, where John says, Mateus, copy? And he says, yeah, go ahead. So both gentlemen were military service members, both the victim and the murderer. And then one's name was the victim's name was Jack, and the murderer's name was Edwin. And in our portal session, John says, Mateus, is that you? And he says, where's Jack? As clear as day. Where's Jack? And then Jack say, I'm right here. There are some chilling responses that we got. We always get them, but a lot of chilling responses that we got that are as clear as day. You are talking to both victim and murderer.
And you got that on film?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, because I've seen this device in action. Are we calling it the portal?
Yeah, that's what we refer to it as. Yeah, the portal.
All right. So I've witnessed the portal in action, and it's amazing. It is very clear.
I know. I want one.
Is it something we can get our hands on?
I'm sorry?
Is it something we can get our hands on?
No.
Over here?
No, that is. I mean,
it's
I'm
an
not the one to
exclusive.
talk about
It's an exclusive thing, isn't it?
To my understanding, from John's words, that's your bread and butter. That's your device. And do you want to explain how it works, or is that like a secret recipe?
Yeah, don't give too much away.
Our inventor has not even disclosed how he really did it, but it is quite literally an electronic Ouija board. It really is. It is not connected to the internet. It is not connected to the radio. There is no sound bank. There is no, there might be a sound bank, like there are like a small sound bank, but not like, anything crazy. There's no word bank. There's nothing stored in it. It is similar to like how a necrophonic would work, right? But it's far more advanced. It is 100% clear. It utilizes the same kind of, I guess, technology as a white noise and electromagnetic field to be able to physically allow the spirit themselves in their own voice, like what they would have sounded like when they were alive, to come through. It uses certain, I'm trying to remember how he explained it to me, but when he was explaining it, all I could picture was like a tornado and then a door opening. And like when that door opened, I mean, like spirits from all over the world have come through. I've gotten Arabic, Irish, British, some form of Asian speaking spirit. I've had spirits speak Spanish. I've had them come from all over the world, come through this portal. And the way the builder describes it is, a Ouija board, right? You open the circle, whatever comes through, right? It's the same concept. Once you open that portal and once it does its thing, whatever comes through. You can't control it. We've had dark entities come through and straight up say things like, your Jesus is dead. I will take your soul to hell. We've had some wild things come through that portal that will leave you your mouth on the floor.
Well, I
think I heard a few of those.
I mean, from what I witnessed, and shout out to the infield house. Just knowing there's not any connection to nothing, and you're hearing voices come out of it is mind
terrifying.
So
for me, I find that exciting and amazing. But I mean, there's just so much going on within this device, and it's like, wow, like just knowing that there's not even a word bank in it is just it's crazy. It's crazy because I remember during that investigation at the infield house, we were all in the second floor, I believe. Pineapples, right, was somewhere doing something, and then everybody was in the second floor, and then all of a sudden, my son was right behind me, but we heard like if there was people, like literal people inside a house, to the so much so that we actually went downstairs because we thought somebody came inside the house. And it was coming through the speaker, so it's like it's even clear. So it's amazing. It's
amazing. So like you're saying, it's a digital Ouija board as such. Is there a certain way you have to close it off so nothing else comes through afterwards, or is it simple as just turning it off?
No, it's just turning it on and off. I do say before I turn it off, I do very, very clearly say, you cannot stay here. You cannot come home with us. You cannot attach to the device. You are not welcome. We rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. You must leave. You are not allowed to stay attached to us, because we have had things stay attached. And we've had to get the portal blessed by our bishop. We get it blessed regularly now because of things that have happened with it. It literally is. It's a digital Ouija board, and we can't control what comes through. But again, it goes into what you put into your investigation. You're going to get out. So,
Anyway, we're gonna have to step away from that, but I will say when you come to Australia, you got to bring that with you because I want to see it. I want to see it. You may not get it back; it may get stuck in customs, so we might have to look after it for you.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
This weekend in action as well.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so do you want to tell everybody what you have going on this weekend?
Yes, so this weekend is our annual Forsaken Souls Lake Shawnee Spring Lockdown, where my team and I will be going to Lake Shawnee Abandoned Amusement Park. It is quite literally John and I's most favorite haunted location in the world. The connection that we have with those spirits there and with the owner is absolutely remarkable. for those of you that don't know the history behind Lake Shawnee, I'll give you a super quick rundown. The property is the Lake Shawnee tribe property. The tribe dates back to something like 500 BC or earlier. On the property itself are over 3,000 tribe member bodies buried. It's a giant burial site that they used to live on. There is a massive elemental that protects the property. On the left side of the property, after Shawnee tribe came and went, the owners of the property decided to build an amusement park on top of the burial site. Needless to say,
right on top.
Place in the 20s. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're actually treading across the remains of people.
So
yeah, well, they didn't know they were there.
So realistically, they had a haunted house there that was a haunted house.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah. So, the amusement park had several deaths that occurred on the property. And people speculate it's because of the desecration of the tribe, memorial and whatnot. Long story short, the amusement park was open from the 20s through the late 60s. It shut down, and then another family purchased it in the late 70s, opened it back up until mid 80s, and it got shut down again. They realized something was going on, that it wasn't normal what was happening there, and they had a ton of children die on that property. Mind you, prior, when it was the Shawnee tribe property, the Clay family came over from Britain to try and, settle the white man on tribal grounds. And long story short, even though the chief of the tribe allowed them to have a small piece of land, a lot of the other tribe members weren't happy. And the tribe members murdered 3 of the Clay family children in the most horrific, brutal manner. Those 3 children are buried on the property along with the tribe members. There's a headstone there. So now you've got 3,000 plus tribe members, 3 of the slain children who were left on stakes, okay? And then you have all the children that died on the amusement park there. This place is a paranormal hotspot like no other. But there are a lot of really incredible spirits there that are truly one of a kind, from tribal to the children. John and I have built a great relationship with the property owner as well as with the spirits. And as you've seen some of our videos, like the balloons and everything, it is never a dull moment when we go there. So we hold 4 events there a year where people can come and join us and investigate with us. It's incredible. We camp out, we do bonfire, we do s'mores, we do full food. Like this weekend, we're doing pulled pork, sliders, and a whole bunch of other food. And we do something different each time for food. We cook out, really enjoy spending time with everybody, camping, the whole bit. And then we start our paranormal investigation at 9 p.m. and go straight through to 10 a.m. the next day.
We'll have to try and arrange with you guys to do this live cross that we were going to do. So we'll have to talk about that later, because we do have to go now, and I know you have to get out. And we'd all like to thank you for coming in. And
thank you very much.
Yeah, we're kind of all jealous about this portal. And
I mean, like, if they do leave it here by chance, we can always have like their name pop up on the screen before we use it.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to have them advertise their group while we have possession of the portal. Yeah.
I think that's fair.
John protects that thing with his life. Certain pineapples.
Well, John can stay.
Looks like John's just gonna have to stay.
John's gonna have to stay as well.
We used to have a pineapple that would literally go like this over his shoulder. He's like, back up now.
No.
He also, I told you, he threatened me, like, I want to know the name and the phone number of the guy that made that, because my dead cousin came through and I need to talk to him about this. Okay, buddy.
Not happening.
Oh, man.
I would love to.
Oh, man.
I love coming on the show, and I can't wait till the next time. And I'll make sure John's not at work when we come back.
Well, we'll have you on again soon to talk more about the show, and hopefully if we can try and get a bit of a thing going while you're in Shawnee, just to show us around a little bit as well. So I can talk to you about that later on. And anyway, I know you've got to go, and it's getting pretty close to your deadline, because you've got to go somewhere important. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on. We don't want to keep you anymore. So take it easy.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Be safe.
Oh, we will. You too. See ya.
Go on.